There's a video going viral right now. A woman asks her boyfriend if he'd take a celebrity hall pass permission to sleep with a celebrity without consequences. He says no, he wouldn't betray their relationship. Her response? Complete shock. Not happiness, not appreciation shock. Like she just discovered gravity works backwards. She literally cannot process that a man would choose loyalty over opportunity. And this, gentlemen, reveals something profound about how some women see us. They've been programmed to believe we're nothing but walking erections with wallets attached. Let me explain why they're wrong, and more importantly, why they need us to be wrong. Some women are genuinely shocked when a man chooses loyalty over temptation. They've internalized this narrative so deeply that actual male loyalty breaks their brain. A faithful man doesn't compute. It's like showing them a unicorn they know what they're seeing, but they can't believe it exists. This isn't just misunderstanding, it's complete disconnection from male emotional reality. I had a client whose girlfriend tested him constantly, hired her friend to flirt with him at a bar, created fake dating profiles to message him, had her attractive coworker accidentally text him. Every time he stayed loyal, she didn't become more secure, she became more confused. She literally told him, "I don't understand why you didn't try anything." She couldn't accept that he actually loved her more than he wanted random sex. Many people hold overly negative stereotypes about men's intentions, and it's destroying relationships. Every interaction gets filtered through this lens of suspicion. He's nice to the waitress, he wants to sleep with her, he has female friends, he's keeping options open, he compliments your friend, he's planning to cheat. This paranoia creates the very distance that destroys relationships. But here's the dark truth: some women benefit from believing men are driven only by desire. If men are just animals, then women are morally superior by default. If men can't control themselves, then women are the responsible ones. If men only want one thing, then women hold all the power. This narrative isn't just wrong, it's strategically wrong. It serves a purpose. Think about it: if men are emotionally shallow, then women don't have to meet men's emotional needs. If men only want sex, then withholding sex is the ultimate control mechanism. If men are simple creatures, then women are complex beings deserving of more consideration. The stereotype justifies treating men as less than fully human while demanding full humanity for themselves. Male affection gets constantly misinterpreted as purely physical. A man wants to cuddle? He's trying to initiate sex. He wants to hold hands, foreplay. He gives a long hug. He's aroused. But here's what's actually happening. Men are starving for basic human connection, and the only socially acceptable way to get it is through romantic relationships. So everything gets sexualized, not because men sexualize it, but because that's the only framework anyone allows. When men see videos of wives greeting their husbands with joy, jumping into their arms, covering them with kisses, we don't envy the sex. We envy the enthusiasm. We envy being wanted. We envy being someone's favorite person. We envy coming home to happiness instead of complaints. That's not lust, that's longing for love. I counsel men who haven't been hugged in years, not sex hugged. Their wives give them these mechanical pecks on the cheek like they're checking off a chore. Their girlfriends recoil from non-sexual touch. These men are dying from skin hunger and everyone pretends it's about sex. It's not. It's about human connection. Some women control access to most forms of non-sexual touch, and they don't even realize the power they wield. When was the last time someone touched you affectionately without wanting something? For women, probably today. For men, maybe months, maybe years. Women get hugs from friends, physical comfort when sad, casual touches during conversation. Men get handshakes, and that's about it. This gatekeeping of affection becomes a control mechanism. She decides when you get affection, how much and in what form. Good behavior, maybe a real kiss. Bad behavior, cold shoulder. It's behavioral conditioning, and men are the lab rats. But we're not supposed to notice or complain because all you want is sex anyway, right? Men are literally starving for simple, non-sexual closeness. A client told me he went to get his hair cut more often than needed just because the shampoo involved human touch. Another schedules unnecessary massages for the same reason. These aren't creepy men, these are normal guys whose need for human contact is so unmet, they're paying strangers for non-sexual touch. This touch deprivation makes men easier to manipulate. When you're starving, you'll do anything for crumbs. When the only source of affection is one person who rations it based on behavior, you become trained like a circus animal. Perform correctly, get a treat. Disappoint, get nothing. It's emotional abuse, but we call it relationship dynamics. Here's something that'll blow your mind. A man who feels emotionally supported becomes more peaceful. And some people don't want that. They want you hungry, driven, aggressive, productive. A satisfied man might stop grinding himself to death for approval. He might realize he's enough. He might stop accepting poor treatment. Can't have that, can we? Society restricts men's access to harmless, friendly touch in ways that would be considered cruel if applied to any other group. Women hug hello, hug goodbye, hug for comfort, hug for celebration. Men? We get one-arm bro hugs with 3 backslaps maximum. Any more, and it's gay. The homophobia isn't coming from men, it's coming from social programming that keeps men isolated. Boys receive less physical comfort even in childhood. Studies show parents touch daughters more than sons. Boys get told to walk it off, while girls get hugs. Boys learn early that physical comfort is not for them. By age 5, many boys have already internalized that wanting hugs is weakness. Many boys resort to rough play because it's the only physical contact they're allowed. Wrestling, sports, fighting, it's all just boys trying to touch and be touched in the only socially acceptable way. That, boys will be boys? Roughness. It's touch starvation manifesting as aggression. Give boys more hugs, you get less violence. Men receive less physical comfort even from mental health professionals. Female clients get tissues handed to them gently, sometimes a comforting hand on the shoulder. Male clients? Here's the tissue box, deal with it yourself. The therapeutic relationship itself perpetuates male touch isolation. High-status men get touched more, and it actually boosts their perceived value. CEOs get handshakes, back pats, casual shoulder touches. Athletes get constant physical contact. High-status men live in a different touch economy than regular men. And guess what? The men who get touched more are seen as more attractive. It's a feedback loop. Low-status men receive almost no touch, creating deep emotional isolation. The homeless man, the unemployed man, the socially awkward man, they exist in touch deserts. Years without meaningful human contact. We wonder why male mental health is in crisis while denying men the most basic human need, connection through touch. Many men don't realize their touch starvation until becoming fathers. Suddenly, there's this little person who wants hugs, wants to be carried, wants to cuddle. Fathers often report that having children was the first time they realized how touch-deprived they'd been. Their own kids teach them what they've been missing. Men often confuse their need for touch with desire for intimacy because they've been programmed to sexualize all touch. When the only acceptable touch is sexual, all touch becomes sexual in the mind. This isn't male hypersexuality, it's conditioning. Starve someone of water, then wonder why they mistake everything for an oasis. Some women don't understand how deeply men feel this need because they've never experienced it. Imagine never being touched except during sex. Imagine going months without a hug. Imagine the only physical affection you get is transactional. You can't imagine it because it's never been your reality. But it's the reality for millions of men. The fear some women have about offering platonic comfort comes from valid experiences. Some men do misinterpret kindness as interest. But here's the thing, those men are usually the most touch-starved. They're so desperate for connection that any crumb looks like a feast. The solution isn't less touch, it's normalized touch so kindness doesn't get misread as desire. Shaming men for wanting closeness makes everything worse. Call a man needy for wanting hugs, and he'll stop asking but not stop needing. Shame creates shadows, not solutions. The need doesn't disappear. It just goes underground, manifests in unhealthy ways, or turns into resentment. Meeting men's emotional needs would actually reduce unwanted advances. Men who feel emotionally satisfied don't mistake every interaction for potential connection. Men who get regular affection don't become desperate. Men who feel valued don't chase validation through conquest. But acknowledging this would mean admitting men have emotional needs, and some people aren't ready for that conversation. Parents need to normalize affectionate closeness for boys immediately. Fathers, hug your sons, not those quick, rough, backslapping hugs. Real hugs, long hugs, comfortable hugs. Show them that men can be tender. Mothers, don't stop hugging your boys when they hit puberty. They need it more then, not less. The assumption that men only want sex is literally killing us. Male suicide rates are through the roof. Male loneliness is epidemic. Men are checking out of society entirely, and instead of addressing the root cause, emotional starvation, we mock men for being soft when they express needs. I had a conversation with a female colleague about this. She couldn't believe men weren't getting touched regularly. When I explained that most men can go months without non-sexual physical contact, she literally didn't believe me. When I pointed out she'd received 3 hugs that day already, she went quiet. The privilege of casual touch is invisible to those who have it. Some women weaponize this knowledge once they understand it. They deliberately withhold affection as punishment. They ration touch like treating a dog. They create artificial scarcity to maintain control. And if you call it out, you're needy, or demanding, or only thinking about one thing. The dating advice industry makes this worse. Make him work for it. Don't be too available. Keep him guessing. All of it translates to withhold affection to maintain power, create insecurity to ensure effort, uses emotional needs against him. It's manipulation disguised as empowerment. Here's what really gets me. The same people who say men only want sex also complain that men aren't emotional enough. How are men supposed to develop emotional depth when every emotional need gets sexualized? How are we supposed to be vulnerable when vulnerability gets mocked? How are we supposed to be soft when softness gets exploited? The male emotional experience is so different from what some women imagine. We don't wake up thinking about sex. We wake up thinking about purpose, meaning, connection, achievement, love, family, legacy. Sex is part of it, sure, but it's not the monolith some people pretend it is. We're full human beings with complex emotional landscapes. When a man says he needs intimacy, he's often not talking about sex. He's talking about being held, being wanted, being chosen, being enough, being safe, being home in someone's arms. But the moment he expresses this, it gets reduced to men only want one thing. No, we want what every human wants to be loved. The pornography discussion always comes up here. See, men consume porn, so they're sex-obsessed. But what if porn consumption is partially about touch starvation? What if men are so desperate for intimate connection that they'll settle for pixels? What if it's not about sex, but about briefly feeling wanted, even if it's artificial? Some men have given up trying to explain this. They've accepted that their emotional needs will be misunderstood, mocked, or weaponized. They've stopped asking for affection because the rejection hurts too much. They've learned to live with the hunger because feeling it is better than being shamed for it. The damage this does to relationships is catastrophic. Men shut down emotionally because opening up is dangerous. Some women wonder why their partners are distant, not realizing they've created that distance by treating emotional needs as weakness or manipulation tactics. Trust dies when vulnerability is punished. I see couples where the woman complains he's not affectionate enough, but watch what happens when he tries. He reaches for her hand, she's busy on her phone. He tries to cuddle, she's not in the mood. He goes for a hug, she gives him that pat done hug. Then she wonders why he stopped trying. The social programming runs so deep that even men believe it sometimes. We internalize that wanting affection is weakness. We accept that we're simple creatures driven by base desires. We participate in our own dehumanization because fighting it is exhausting and seemingly pointless. But men are waking up to this reality. We're starting to articulate what's been missing. We're starting to demand full humanity, not just the parts that are useful. We're starting to reject relationships where we're treated as success objects, with sex drives rather than whole human beings with emotional needs. The manosphere gets a lot wrong, but one thing it's gotten right is highlighting male emotional starvation. When millions of men say they're touch-starved, emotion-starved, affection-starved, maybe instead of calling them incels or weak, we should ask why this is happening. Some women are starting to understand this. They're realizing that meeting men's emotional needs isn't weakness or submission, it's partnership. They're discovering that emotionally satisfied men are better partners, not worse ones. They're learning that strength and tenderness can coexist. The cultural shift needed is massive. We need to normalize platonic touch between men. We need to stop sexualizing every male need for connection. We need to recognize that men's emotional needs are not negotiable or optional. They're human requirements. The workplace could be part of the solution. Professional settings where appropriate touch is normalized, not sexualized, not mandatory, but available. Some Nordic companies have implemented High Five Fridays and seen male mental health improve. Small touches, big impact. Educational settings need reform too. Teachers should be allowed to comfort all children equally, regardless of gender. Boys shouldn't be touch exiled the moment they hit double digits. Physical comfort shouldn't end because someone decided boys don't need it anymore. The mental health industry needs to acknowledge this crisis. Touch starvation is real, measurable and treatable. But first, we need to stop pretending it's just sexual frustration. We need to stop reducing male emotional needs to their simplest, most dismissible form. Some men have found solutions in unexpected places. Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu provides constant physical contact in a non-sexual context. Male massage therapists report that many clients just need human touch. Barbers become informal therapists because they're the only people who touch men regularly. The pet industry boom among single men isn't coincidental. Dogs provide unconditional love and physical affection. Cats offer companionship and touch. Pets meet emotional needs that humans aren't meeting. That's not pathetic, that's adaptation to an impossible situation. The research on this is heartbreaking. Men in hospitals recover slower with less touch. Elderly men die earlier without regular physical contact. Baby boys who aren't touched enough literally fail to thrive. Touch isn't a luxury, it's a biological necessity we're denying half the population. Some women use this information to select better partners. They look for men who've solved their touch needs in healthy ways. Men with close families, men with affectionate friendships, men who've done therapy. These men don't bring touch desperation into relationships. The generational trauma gets passed down. Touch-starved fathers raise touch-starved sons. Men who never learned healthy affection can't teach it. Boys grow up thinking emotional distance is strength. The cycle continues unless someone consciously breaks it. The irony is that some women think they're protecting themselves by maintaining distance, but emotional distance creates the very desperation they're trying to avoid. Affection, scarcity creates the hungry behavior they fear. They're creating the problem they're trying to solve. Men need to be part of the solution too. We need to create male spaces where affection is normalized. We need to hug our brothers, literally. We need to stop policing each other's emotional expression. We need to stop participating in our own touch starvation. The celebrity hall pass discussion that started this reveals everything. Some women literally cannot conceive of men choosing love over sex because they've never seen men as fully human. They've never considered that we might value connection over conquest, loyalty over lust, love over leisure. When that woman expressed shock at her boyfriend's loyalty, she revealed her own programming. She's been taught men are animals who can't control themselves. She's been told men always want more, better, different. The idea of a satisfied, loyal man broke her worldview. But here's the truth. Most men aren't looking for more sex. They're looking for more connection. They don't want 100 partners. They want one partner who actually sees them. They don't want variety. They want depth. They don't want transaction. They want transformation. The commodification of male sexuality serves nobody. When we reduce men to walking sex drives, we remove their humanity. When we assume every male action has sexual motivation, we miss the actual motivation. When we treat male emotional needs as secondary to sexual needs, we create broken men and broken relationships. Some women weaponize male sexuality as excuse for their own behavior. He only wants sex anyway becomes justification for emotional neglect. Men are simple becomes reason to ignore complexity. All men cheat becomes permission to never trust. The damage to young men is severe. They're growing up believing they're predators by nature. They're learning their touch is dangerous, their desire is toxic, their needs are shameful. They're being programmed for isolation before they even understand what connection means. The social media portrayal makes everything worse. Every man is either a predator or a simp. Every interaction is sexualized or pathologized. Every expression of need is weakness or manipulation. There's no space for normal human complexity. But reality is breaking through the propaganda. Men are sharing their stories, women are listening and learning, couples are having real conversations about emotional needs. The narrative is changing, slowly, but it's changing. The men who figured this out are thriving. They found partners who see them as whole humans. They've built relationships on mutual emotional satisfaction. They've rejected the narrative that they're simple creatures with simple needs. The solution starts with honest conversation. Men need to articulate their emotional needs without shame. Women need to listen without dismissing. Both need to recognize that we're all humans needing connection, touch, affection, and understanding. The future of relationships depends on this shift. We can't keep treating half the population as emotionally simplified beings and expect healthy partnerships. We can't keep denying basic human needs and wondering why relationships fail. Every man reading this who's been told he only wants one thing, you know that's not true. Every woman who's believed men are simple, look deeper. Every couple struggling with disconnection, start with touch. Start with affection. Start with seeing each other as fully human. The change happens one relationship at a time, one conversation at a time, one hug at a time, one moment of genuine understanding at a time. The narrative that men only want sex is dying. What's replacing it is the truth men want what everyone wants: to be known, to be held, to be loved. Stop believing the lie that men are simple. Stop perpetuating the myth that male needs are singular. Stop participating in the dehumanization of half the population. Men are complex, emotional, needful beings just like everyone else, and it's time we started treating them that way. The next time someone says men only want one thing, remember this: the men who seem obsessed with sex are usually the ones most starved of affection. The men who seem desperate are usually the ones most denied connection. The men who seem simple are usually the ones whose complexity has been consistently ignored. We're not asking for much, just the same humanity afforded to everyone else, the same consideration of our emotional needs, the same recognition that we're more than our utility and our sexuality. We're asking to be seen, fully, as we are. And to the some women who still think men only want sex, you're wrong. What we want is to come home to someone who's happy to see us, to be touched with tenderness, not just during intimacy, to be held when we're broken, to be chosen, daily, actively, enthusiastically. That's not sex, that's love, and yes, we want that desperately. The conversation needs to change, the narrative needs to shift, the understanding needs to deepen. Because until we recognize men as fully emotional beings with complex needs, we'll keep creating disconnected relationships, touch-starved populations, and lonely generations. Men are ready for this change. We're ready to be seen fully. We're ready for our emotional needs to be taken seriously. We're ready for relationships where we're partners, not performers. Where we're loved, not just needed. Where we're human, not just male. And to the men reading this, your needs matter. Your desire for affection is valid. Your longing for connection is human. Don't let anyone reduce you to less than you are. Don't accept relationships where your complexity is denied. Don't settle for partners who see you as simple. The truth is revolutionary. Men don't just want sex, we want connection, affection, understanding, tenderness, emotional safety, and yes, physical intimacy too. But not just that. Never just that. We want what humans want. Because that's what we are: human. Fully, completely, complexly human. Some women are getting it. They're seeing their partners differently. They're meeting emotional needs they didn't know existed. They're discovering that emotionally satisfied men are incredible partners. They're learning that the narrative was wrong. The relationships built on this understanding are different. They're deeper, stronger, more satisfying for everyone involved. When both partners' emotional needs are acknowledged and met, magic happens. Connection deepens. Trust builds. Love thrives. We're at a turning point. The old narrative is dying. The new understanding is emerging. Men are claiming their full humanity. Women are seeing men's full humanity. Relationships are transforming. It's messy. It's difficult, but it's necessary. The resistance to this change is fierce. The old narrative serves too many purposes. It justifies too many behaviors. It excuses too many failures. But truth has a way of breaking through convenient lies. And the truth is, men are emotionally complex beings with deep needs for connection. Or, every relationship that acknowledges this truth improves. Every man who claims his emotional needs grows stronger. Every woman who sees male complexity becomes a better partner. Every child raised with this understanding becomes healthier. The future belongs to those who see clearly, who reject simplistic narratives, who embrace human complexity, who understand that all humans need touch, affection, emotional connection, and deep understanding, who know that men wanting these things isn't weakness, it's humanity. This isn't about blame, it's about understanding, it's about growth, it's about creating relationships where everyone's needs matter, where no one's humanity is reduced, where connection is real, deep, and mutual. The change starts with you. Question the narrative, see the complexity, meet the needs, build better relationships, create better understanding, Be part of the solution, not the problem. I want to hear from you. Men, what emotional needs do you have that get dismissed as just wanting sex? Women, has this changed how you see men's needs? Everyone, what happens when we start seeing each other as fully human? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Let's have the conversation that changes everything. Because men don't just want one thing. We want everything that makes us human. And it's time the world understood that.